Hi all, I'm Melissa and welcome to Oh My Word, Melly. So I am someone who likes to read books based on seasons, and I also someone who read books based on the season. Well, in today's video, because it's the month of Halloween and all the spooky and witchy, season, I thought of bringing y'all some witchy romance books that I have been seeing across, Bookstagram, Booktube, and that have been hyped, as well as I see most of my friends reading as well, because what better season than the Halloween season to talk about witchy romance books. So starting off is with one of the most recent releases in the witchy rom-com genre, and that book really surprised me, and that is Enchanted to Meet You by Meg Cabot, which is the first book of the Witches of West Harbor series. And I was shocked and surprised to see this because Meg Cabot was an author that I loved reading when I was growing up. And when I was like young and all, with Princess Diaries and All American, what was it, All American Boys? I can't remember. But like Meg Cabot was one of my most favorite authors when I was small, and to see a book by her again was really exciting. And a witchy romance or a witchy rom-com to that was like just ticked all my boxes. So Enchanted to Meet You, like I said, is the first book of the Witches of West Harbor series, and it's like a plus size witch who must team up with a handsome stranger to help protect her village from an otherworldly force. But will she be able to protect her heart? Now that synopsis or that blurb just got me hooked, and I love the cover, guys. Like the cover is so pretty, and like it has fake dating and also like dual timelines. So I really need to know what this is about, and again, I have not read these are in my TBR and I really need to. And also it's like strangers to lovers, set in a small town. Also not only dual timeline, this is also in dual POV, so we will be getting the best of all worlds is what I could think of. So I really need to read this. And also the how do you say, the title of the book is very Taylor Swifty vibes, because Enchanted to Meet You just made me think of Taylor Swift's song Enchanted. So I think it just ticks everything, and I really want to read this. I have seen reviews of this where people have really enjoyed this and they have said it's like a cozy quick read. So definitely it's down my alley and I really need to read this. If you all have read this, let me know how it is in the comments down below. And if you all still haven't, I think you should go and add this into your TBR. So the next recommendation I have is the X-Hex by Erin Sterling, which is the first book of the X-Hex series, and the second book, which is The Kiss Curse, was released this year, and I can tell you all for sure that it is one of the books that I want to read this month. Hopefully I'll have time to finish it off in the next few weeks or like 1 week. Anyway, the X-Hex, I have read this and I absolutely loved it. I did not even expect such an amazing book when I went into it. I just read it, I think back in 2021 or just as soon as it was released, and I just went into it for the hype because I saw everyone reading it and I wanted to be on trend as well, and I absolutely loved it. It just blew my mind. So I just like the blurb of this, so let's see. It is: Vivian puts a curse on her ex-boyfriend. Years later, Rice, the ex, returns to her hometown to make an appearance at the annual fall fair. Soon things start going horribly wrong. Vivian and Rice realize they need to work together to reverse the curse that was cast years ago. Just what will happen? Will these two rekindle their romance, or will they walk away from each other for good? Guys, I absolutely enjoyed this. Like, it was just amazing. And of course, cursing your ex, I'm all for it, guys, if I could do that. This follows like an enemies to lovers, second chance romance and forced proximity, because they have to work together to undo the curse. And then so much of autumn vibes, witchy vibes, then ghosts and magic and great banter. And you know what great banter leads to? Spice. And guys, there were a few spicy scenes. Like, I'm not going to like extreme, spice, but there was angst, there was somewhat of spice. I would say like a 3 chili rating kind of spice. And I truly loved it. I loved it so much that I am just super stoked to want to read the Kiss Curse, which is the second book of this X-Hex series. And I am just praying, fingers crossed, that I will enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the X-Hex sometimes back. And also, I just got to know that a third book in this series called The Wedding Wish is coming. And what could happen with a wedding wish, right? So I can't wait for that book to be released. I think it's being released next year. So I really need to read it. Before that, I need to read the Kiss Curse. If y'all still haven't read the X-Hex, I think y'all should. It's a fast-paced book. It's a cozy and fun book to read as well. And it just is just nice. I think I gave it a 4-star because somewhat at the end I thought it was rushed, if I am recalling it correctly. But it was a fun book nonetheless. So do edit your TBRs and check it out as well. So if y'all have read the X-Hex or still haven't but will read it and enjoy it, then this recommendation is for you as well. And this is as amazing as X-Hex and is recommended for anyone who likes the X-Hex and the Kiss Curse as well. And this is Something Wicked by Gretchen Rue. So let me read out the blurb of this as well, because it just throws your mind crazy. And it goes like this, right? Recipe for a potion to demolish life as you know it. Step 1. Pack up your life and move to your aunt's old house in a small, sleepy town. Step 2. Discover that she was a witch. Step 3. Discover that you are also a witch. Step 4. Add a sprinkle of butterflies for your childhood friend who's suddenly incredibly hot. A dash of prying neighbors who want you to leave their town and never come back. And the key ingredient, a murder on the steps of your aunt's old tea shop, which, as it happens, is also a magic apothecary. Voila! Your spell is complete. Now that gives you so much of vibes, right? Like, and you are trying to understand where this book is going to. So she didn't know that she was a witch, and she's going to discover that she is a witch, and her aunt's a witch. And I'm like, discovering you're a witch is a theme I enjoy, and I did read another book with that theme this month already as the first books of October. I'll tell you all that in my October reading wrap up in a few weeks. So I totally know that I will enjoy this book, because I love that, where I'm discovering I'm a witch kind of vibe. And for people who have read this book, they say this book is like Sabrina the Teen Witch meets Gilmore Girls with a cozy murder mystery twist. And you all know, since of this year, I have been a huge fan of murder mysteries. That is always like a murder mystery twist in a book, and I'm someone who loves it. Like, I read My Killer Vacation, and then the Agathas, The Night in Question, those books which have a murder mystery twist as well. So I definitely see some more things that's in this book that would definitely grab my attention and would make me love it. So I really need to see this. And though this is like a witchy rom-com, it's more revolving around the murder mysteries, what I know. and that the romance is not the key theme. It's like a secondary subplot or in the background. So I really need to see this. I know for a witchy rom-com book recommendation video, I am recommending something that is not romancy in the first go itself, but this book looked pretty. The plot got my attention, so what more? So this also has this small town Hallmark movie kind of vibe with old flames, like best friends to lovers kind of, or like small day friends to lovers kind of thing, and a cozy bookshop, like every book lover's dream, right? And like empowered women, even the stereotypical ginger, those witches cats, the ginger cats, the brownish cats in all witchy movies and all. So yes. And also I was told that at the end of this book there are some recipes that we could actually try it out at home. So it just ticked all my boxes. I love foodie themed books and also books that give recipes. Definitely. Will I try these recipes out? I don't know. So do add this something wicked into your TBR. Are you a spicy rom-com reader like me, looking for something as spicy and as rom-com-y in this spooky season? If you are, then this is the series for you, and that is the Go Hex Yourself series by Jessica Clare. Guys, I have been seeing this all over Instagram this entire witchy season or spooky season, or since the end of September, beginning October, and this is like I said, the Go Hex Yourself series. So far there are 2 books released of it, and that is the Go Hex Yourself and What the Hex. I love the titles, right? What the Hex and Go Hex Yourself. To be said that this is spicy, I really need to read this. So in Go Hex Yourself, which is the first book of this series, I don't know if it's a duology or if it's a series, but so far 2 books are out. So Go Hex Yourself follows these frenemies to lovers, forced proximity, age gap romance, grumpy sunshine tropes, slow burn, and mutual pining. I love a good age gap, and I'm just hoping it is as good as people say, because I have seen like my friends who read so much of spicy books loving this, and to have a spicy romance in the witchy season, hell yeah, it's just my cup of tea. So yes, and then the What the Hex, the second book, also follows like a frenemies to lovers, but also they say idiots to lovers. Now I am curious. I need to see this because I'm not sure if I have ever read an idiots to lovers book. So I need to see what's this frenemies, idiots to lovers kind of book. And again, this too has close proximity, fake dating, magical orgasms. If you all heard me right. I need to see what that is. Then again, a grumpy sunshine trope as well as opposite attracts. But the entire theme of these 2 books is angsty and spicy and that great banter, and we need to look no further. Go Hex Yourself and What the Hex is something that I really need to read. So if y'all have read it, let me know. But if y'all still haven't, add this as well to y'all's TBR. If y'all don't get around reading it like my plan, read it when it's not even the spooky season, or keep it on y'all's TBRs for next year's spooky season. My next recommendation for y'all is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Madana. My God, that name just took my breath away. Literally, it was so long. So this book, again, I love the cover. I think it was released this year and is supposed to have like 318 pages, which I think is a really good number of pages for a normal length novel. And I think I can finish it in a day or 2. If I have like an entire free day, maybe I'll finish it the entire day. Anyway, this is like a fantasy mystery romance kind of book with cozy witchy vibes, as well as like a cozy mystery, paranormal, grumpy sunshine romance, and found family. This book entirely like revolves around found family is what I understood from the plot, and it has a cute little romance subplot again. So it's about like misfits of witches forming up a family, and sassy girls, all that. So, and uncovering secrets and all that. So, I really need to read this maybe next year around for sure. The entire story revolves around this found family trope, so I need to see that. And where, you know, I love the misfits or the witches misfits kind of plot as well, where you are not a really good witch, maybe you are a witch with no magical powers. I don't know, I still haven't read this, but like trying to find yourself a place in a world where witches or powerful witches are there. I think that is a plot that I kind of like. I haven't seen this really like being blown up on social media, but it is like one of those underrated books is what I have said, and I have seen a lot of people rating this 4 to 5 stars. Like, it is a book that we need to discover. It's like an hidden gem kind of book is what I have said. So do check out the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. So this recommendation purely is because I was attracted to its cover, and that is Julie Abe's The Charmed List. Guys, just see how beautiful the cover is. Like, it is, right? I just love that, it has this astronomical kind of vibes on the cover, and all those like constellations, and then these two couples, like, yes. And the book itself says, two frenemies, one road trip, written in the stars, will it be cursed or charmed? And who wouldn't want to read that? So the blurb of this book goes like this: The Charm List is a magical romantic comedy about two former friends turned enemies forced together on a summer road trip. Ellie is determined to take the risks this summer and begins to check off items on her anti-wallflower list, like take revenge on Jack Yasuda, which doesn't go as planned. As Jack and Ellie, both a part of a secret magical society, travel down the coast of California, magic happens in restoring their special connection. Now that I like secret magic societies and, frenemies to lovers and road trips. Guys, I have always liked a good road trip romance. I think I have read one Christmassy road trip and a normal like cross-country road trip of kind of books. One was Courtney Walsh's book, and the other, I can't remember the author, but I absolutely loved it. I have been told that The Charmed List is like a Sabrina the Teen Witch meets To All the Boys I Loved Before kind of twist between those two, and it's like full of cupcakes and boba tea and, dancing under the stars. See, this is the way to get me to want to read a book. As opposed to all the other recommendations I gave you, this book is a YA or a young adult book which with magical realism as well as urban fantasy. So it's not only a rom-com, it is also a fantasy book as well. So an urban fantasy or romantasy kind of book, and best friends who turn into enemies to lovers in a very YA way, and forced proximity because obviously it's a road trip and a summertime road trip down the California coast. Hell yeah! And a bucket list plot. So now I want to know what Ellie's bucket list contains, and because it in the blurb it said an anti-wallflower list, I'm pretty sure she's like an introverted person that has a bucket list to get out of her introvertedness, and a cute, charming coming of age story. Sometimes after reading all adulty books, I think This book will be a breath of fresh air, like a palate cleanser kind of thing, and I absolutely want to read it. So do check out The Charm List by Julie Ebb. We have already come to my last recommendation of this video. And before I tell you what this recommendation is, I have to tell you this is not a very witchy kind of book. But then you all must be wondering, why the hell am I giving this recommendation in a witchy rom-com video? Well, it's filled with magic and casting, and I just loved the prompts of it or things that is in the book that I had to include it under the witchy rom-com, and that is This Spells Love by Kate Robb. This is a standalone, and it has magic, and where a cast, like this girl goes through a breakup and that drives her into casting a spell that backfires and doesn't happen the way she expected it to, where she wishes she never met her ex. So it is not very witchy per se, but there are spells and casting. So it's just somewhere around that witchy rom-com, guys. So it has magic, obviously, and magical realism that pushes you into an alternate timeline, and paranormal, intense and spicy. So this is an adult rom-com as well, and it's set in like Canadian areas, as opposed, like, I have not read that many books set in Canada, so I'm like really interested to read this. And it says it has like great character growth, where this uptight, uppity, full of herself kind of woman ends up, like, her character just evolves throughout the book, which happens in a really amazing way based on the author's writing. And slow burn, a sassy grandma. So now I'm like, I love, you know, these meddling grandmas, meddling aunties kind of plots in books. So a sassy grandma, yes. Friends to lovers, full of secrets, a rained out date, as well as so many scenes where he has to hide his, you know what. So I really need to see it, and they say there is like a paranormal element to it, and intense, angry, spicy, guys. So my kind of book. How will things be different? How will this alternate reality be where she never met her ex? Now I'm curious, is that something that you will wish for? Maybe not me. Even though this is not a witchy rom-com, guys, it has magic, it has spells, and it's something that we need to read. So this is This Spells Love by Kate Robb. So definitely add this also to y'all's TBRs, because it sounds very interesting and I'm really curious to read this. So with that, we have come to an end to my witchy rom-com recommendations for this Halloween spooky and witchy season. Did y'all enjoy my recommendations? Did any of these books grab y'all's attention? Maybe I did not do much justice to these books, so do check them out as well and see if they are a cup of tea to you as well, because they are so books that I would definitely read. And guys, I am such a seasonal reader. I can't wait to read this, and I'm like trying to convince myself to read most of these even after witchy season. So if you all did enjoy my recommendations, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, as well as share this video with friends and family and help me grow my hobby. And also, if you all want to see more of me and more of my bookish thoughts and all that, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, as well as click on the little bell icon, so that you all get notified every time I post new videos. So with that, and with promises of coming with more fun and bookish content in the upcoming weeks as well, it's time for me to wrap up this video and to say bye from, oh my bird, Melly.